What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? My name is Octane, and today it has finally come, the day that is the Nax mechanic overview for Shaman Healer in Classic WoW Phase 6 Naxxramas. This is the moment you've all been waiting for, or probably not, but it's here, so let's enjoy it. So I figured I would make a series of shorter videos breaking down each of the 4 wings, and then a 5th part at the end breaking down some gear, stuff like that, as well as covering Saf and KT. For the fights that I don't have footage on, which is actually every single one other than Saf and KT, and some scuffed private server footage for a few other fights, I'm just going to use this website that I found, which is called raidplan.io. It's really cool. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. It provides just boss rooms and stuff. You can play around with all kinds of icons, just move stuff, so it can help you lay out a thing. You can use it for retail and classic, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to use that for a lot of these fights in Nax, just give you a basic overview of placements, things like that, while I voice over mechanics, things like that. I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's get started on the Arachnid Quarter. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. So, the first boss of the Arachnid Quarter is none other than Anub-rekhan. So, we can see that we have the boss room laid out here on the website for us. And so, I'm going to use these general markers for most of the fights. So, these would be like off tanks. This would be the main tank. This would be the boss. These would be any potential adds and things that spawn. Melee DPS ranged, and then you. Yes, that's you right there. You were here, Pog. All right. So let's get into Anub-rekhan. So it's not too complicated of a fight. Basically, you know, everyone's going to go in from this end, walk in. Most of everybody other than melee DPS will be in the middle ring here. Either this inner circle or this outer circle is good, even a little bit along the edge. But generally, you just want to stay in the middle here. Totems and everything should be able to reach the tanks. If you're in tank group, you might just need to like go up here, place your totems, come back a little bit, something like that. You just don't want to be near the tank and the boss for cleave and other stuff. So, starting off the fight, there's the 2 adds that will get cleaved down. You can either, cleave them, take it separate, whichever you want to do, really. Just kill the adds, then pretty much everyone just goes ham on the boss. At 90 seconds, he does Locust Swarm, which silences the raid for 20 seconds near him and makes him immune to all melee damage. So, at which point, the tank will be just moving the boss around here, right? So he'll just be kiting the boss, whichever direction he chooses to go, right? And he'll just be kind of staying away from the boss so he doesn't get hit by the boss until the 20 seconds runs out. The Locust Swarm will also do some nature damage, so that's something to be aware of. And additional adds will spawn that just need to be taken down. So not too much of a big deal there. Once those adds die, there will be a bunch of scarabs that spawn. You just like sapper them down, AoE them down. They die really fast, kind of like some of the trash packs that spawn all the adds in AQ, something similar to that. And if somebody dies on this fight, 5 little corpse scarabs will spawn. So it's even more important that not a lot of people die, or you're going to get even more adds overwhelming the raids. So I would pre-pop a GNPP for the Locust Swarm. You do take nature damage. I don't think it's a ton, but it still helps for sure. So you can pop that if you want. The boss does move slower when the tank's kiting him around the room. So again, you just want to position yourself so that you're staying away from the tank. That's why it's still best to be in the middle, but you will need to adjust your positioning as the tank moves around. And then, once Locust Swarm's over, you just kill the boss easy. It is obviously possible, since it's 90 seconds, which is a minute and a half, to just fully zug the boss, like all warriors pop wreck or something, and you just go ham. And as we progress through Nax and as people get more geared, I'm sure that you don't even have to do that. Even on the PTR with full just everything, it still wasn't very difficult or very much of a long fight. So that's something that you can take into consideration, is with like a mostly pug group like my guild, more or less one-shot it. All the fights are relatively straightforward, especially in this wing. So that is what you want to be mindful of. And then from there, we're going to take a look at the next boss, which is Grand Widow Faerlina. Starting off the fight here, we see the boss's positioning. There's going to be 3 ads on each side of her for a total of 6. Obviously, there's 2 different types of ads. One gets MC'd by Priest when she enrages. The other can just get zug-zugged down. And the main things you want to do is pre-pop a GFPP for Rain of Fire. She's going to do a Rain of Fire just like Gehennis in MC, or like Twin Imps do the Blizzard in AQ, so just don't stand in that. But if you really want, just pop a GFPP like you did back in MC, and you should be fine even if you get caught in it, because obviously this one hits a lot harder than one in MC, which actually still hits pretty hard. But this one hits even harder, so GFPP, not a bad idea. Also a GNPP, not a bad idea. Pre-pop, because she does do a poison volley as well. And you want to keep poison cleansing down. Now, this one is a little bit different than Vicidius in Naxx, because Vicidius in Naxx was basically, it hit more on the ticks than the initial damage. This is the opposite. So this hits for about 1.5k nature damage off the rip, and then about 400-ish every 2 seconds after that. So you still want to cleanse it because it still hits for a lot on ticks, but it hits more on the initial impact. As far as I know, there's really no way to avoid it, so you just, GNPP is important, and keep the poison cleansings down for sure. And like I said, the Rain of Fire chunks, so don't stand in that. And the boss enrages, and that's up to the priest healers in your raid to MC the mobs. They take the enrage. GG easy. Again, my guild managed to one-shot this boss with a mostly pug, and our main tank died, and they still were able to just zug kill it. So this is a relatively easy fight. Just don't mess up the ads, don't stand in fire, cleanse the poison, heal people up during the poison, things like that. As far as the positioning, I'll go ahead and go over that here since I forgot to adjust it. So basically, you're just going to stand all the way here in the back. This actually isn't a full view of the room. There's actually like a decent amount more to the room, but it's not showing here. But basically, everything's going to take place in the back of the room, so you're just going to be like way in the back. The tank, the main tank, is going to tank the boss right here, more or less. 3 of the ads just get zug down, so we'll just, you know, okay, they're all dead, blah, blah, blah. The other ones, basically in a vicinity of the boss, they'll get MC'd, they'll take on the enrage, then they'll die. Rinse, repeat, basically. Pretty simple stuff. And again, don't stand in the Rain of Fire. Rain of Fire, oh god, it's on me. Okay, I moved out. Okay, I'm not dead. That's literally it. It's pretty simple. A lot of these fights are not super complicated. So, with that, we shall move on to the final boss, which is Maexxna. And I believe I'm pronouncing that right, but don't hold me to that, please. So, this boss, again, like the other ones, isn't that hard. I mean, it's vanilla WoW, okay, like I can kind of stop saying that, but it's true. It's not that hard. None of these fights are super intimidating, for the most part, I would say. The legend of Vanilla Naxx being like super difficult definitely isn't going to be the same case, and it's going to obviously be the hardest raid of vanilla, but you know, relative to everything else that's been pretty easy so far, it's definitely more heavy on the consumes, I would say, which is like kind of the hardness factor in vanilla WoW, is like how many consumes do you use. Just a very expensive raid to be in for sure. So Myaxna is a big boy. So we made a big skull here, has a huge hitbox. So basically the tank's going to tank him right around here and face him away from the raid. And the tank is going to be getting chunked. So you just want to be wary of healing the tank. Not a lot of other people should take damage other than from the specific mechanics that go out. Other than that, you should mostly just be healing the tanks if that's your responsibility. Like, I heal our main tank, so I'm just going to be pumping, probably honestly not even really casting chain heal at all unless I absolutely need to. So a few things on this boss fight to take note is, the first thing is 20 seconds into the fight, the boss is going to do a move called Web Wrap. Now, it's going to wrap 3 random players in the raid. So let's say this mage, this rogue, and this other warrior. And I think this is the positioning they'll go to. I'm not actually positive. They'll go on one of the walls. Basically, they'll get knocked back, but your positioning should be so that they get knocked back in a certain direction. So they'll all generally be in the same place. And ranged DPS just have to kill the cocoons that they're in that only have about 6k HP. Which is really easy to kill for a couple mages and some hunters and stuff. Like, super easy. And it's important that you get broken out if you're in this, because you take about 650 to 850 nature damage per second. Which is why you want to pre-pop a GNPP for this fight and possibly even use another one during the fight, depending on if you get web wrapped or not, and if people don't kill the web wraps quickly enough, because it will kill you very quickly if people don't kill it, obviously. But again, they only have about 6k HP, so it really shouldn't be a big issue. Another ability to be mindful of, while we can't dispel it, it's like Veil of Shadows on Neff, so it has to be decursed, is the main tank. And it is necrotic poison, reduces healing on the tank by up to 90%, so we have to cleanse the tank ASAP. And obviously, if he doesn't get cleansed, 90% reduction in healing equals dead tank, so it's very important to bring that down, obviously. Then 30 seconds into the fight, so 10 seconds after the first web wrap, there will be a bunch of little adds that spawn underneath the boss. Sappers, AoE, cleave, blast wave, whatever, etc. They don't have a lot of health, so they're pretty easy to kill. But you want to kill them before the next mechanic, which is 10 seconds afterwards, which is web spray, which incapacitates the entire raid in place for 10 seconds and deals anywhere from 1750 to 2250 nature damage on each player in the raid. And you can't move for 10 seconds. You can't even like PvP drink out of it, I don't think. So you want to make sure that everybody's topped off when you see that coming. When you see the ads coming out, and as soon as all the ads are dead, you want to top everybody off as quickly as you possibly can. These people, let's say, you know, okay, get back into position. And especially want to top off the tank, because he's going to get chunked on top of also taking that nature damage. So you really want to top off the tank, but you want to top off everybody else, obviously, because taking like 2k nature damage, people may not have a GNPP left. If they get webbed, maybe somebody screwed up and they almost died in the web. So you just want to top everybody off, make sure everybody's good to go for the web spray. These are all interval attacks. So web spray is every 40 seconds. The ads are every 40 seconds as well, but the first happens 30 seconds. So basically you're going to see, you know, these in initial order off the rip. So you're going to see web wrap at 20 seconds. You're going to see the spawns at 30 seconds. You're going to see web spray at 40 seconds. And then from there, every additional mechanic is also 40 seconds. So they're always going to be staggered by 10 seconds. So then it's going to be web wrap again. Then it's going to be the spawns again. Then it's going to be web spray again. So that's something that you need to consider, as well as dispelling necrotic poison from the tank. Now, the enrage happens at 30%. So this boss does have an enrage, and he hits even more like a truck, and he will still do all the mechanics previous. And web spray is super deadly in this phase, and you need to kill him ASAP, like warriors pop wreck, like everything, because if you don't kill him in time, it's just basically a wipe, because he's just gonna chunk the tank. If you have more than one web spray during the enrage, like, you're probably just gonna wipe. So that's honestly it for this boss. This is definitely, I would say, the hardest boss of the wing in my personal opinion, just because there are a few different moving parts, and it's more of the timing thing. Again, everything's kind of staggered in the same way. So if you are aware of the patterns of when things happen, then you should stay on top of it. This is a big damage fight for the tanks, so if you're in a tank group, make sure to keep them up, top everybody off when the poison volley goes out, and the boss should be dead. It's not too hard of a fight, but there's definitely a lot of margin for error on some people's parts. So just staying on top of those things, and you will be good to go. So that is the Arachnid Quarter for Classic Naxx. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope things were clear enough for you. And if they weren't, I'm sorry. I'm bad at making content. No, but seriously, thank you guys so much for all the support the channel has received. It's been really fun making more videos for you guys. I've enjoyed it a ton. And let me know what you guys want to see next. I have the other 3 wings coming, as well as Saf and KT, so look out for those. After that, let me know what you guys want to see in terms of content on the channel. I'm going to try to release these videos every couple days so that they're out on plenty of time before Naxx. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys, love you, and see you guys in the next one.